Hello and welcome back everyone, we Weeb Online, and today I'm gonna continue the series What If Naruto Played the Game of Dumb Dares Part 2. If you enjoy this video, please give it a big thumbs up, and to watch more videos like this, subscribe to my channel and turn that bell notification on so you never miss an upload. Now wasting no more time, let's begin.
Kiba rushed into Shikamaru's office and closed the door behind him quietly. Shikamaru looked up at the dog lover quizzically. Is it just me or are Naruto and Sasuke suddenly very close? Shikamaru's eyes widened. What do you mean? The dog lover paused and looked around as if someone else was just standing in the room. Okay, I was walking over to the kitchen when I saw Naruto leaving Sasuke's office, and he was redoing his tie and all. Shit, I'm sure it's nothing, Kiba, Shikamaru said calmly with a sigh. No way, dude. It's something. The brunette began pacing back and forth in front of Shikamaru's desk. Sasuke is gay. And how do you know this? I don't see him going around saying sparkles. Kiba snickered at the image in his head but quickly got back on track. Did I ever tell you how he was checking me out once? You're not much of a looker, in my personal opinion, Shikamaru retorted. Well, no one asked for your personal opinion, asshole. Anyways, he is gay. If not gay, then bi. All I know is that does take interest in the company of men. Shikamaru chuckled at Kiba's choice of words. Shut up. Anyways, Naruto has been sent into Sasuke's office a lot lately, and he hasn't been complaining about the bastard at all. I think they're going out, Shika. The black-haired man sighed and clapped slowly. Congratulations, Kiba. You have finally lost it. Damn, Naruto better thank me for covering his sorry ass. Dude, I have it. You can't tell me you haven't noticed them. Of course I have. Shikamaru just stared blankly at the dog lover. God, you don't believe me, do you? Of course I do. Of course I don't. Naruto is a wacko, I'll agree with you there. But there's no way he would go off and do gay stuff with Sasuke. Even though he has. Kiba sighed in defeat. Fine, but I will investigate and prove to you that those two are doing stuff together. Shikamaru's eyes widened. What do you mean investigate? Kiba laughed evilly and winked at the black-haired man, raising a finger in the air. Inuzuka, Kiba. Undercover detective is on the code name. Queer case. The brunette continued to laugh as he dashed out of Shikamaru's office, avoiding the lazy man's protests. Shit. Naruto walked into his office on Tuesday morning with a grin on his face. Nothing happened in particular. Just a happy blonde is all. However, deep down in his heart, he knew he was just gleaming with joy because Sasuke totally embarrassed Kiba yesterday. Naruto flung his messenger bag off of his shoulder and onto the wooden chair by the door. He grinned when he noticed the yellow post-it note on the bottom of his monitor and scanned over it quickly. Shout phone. Every time someone's phone rings. 15 points. The blonde groaned in annoyance. To be able to hear everyone's phone meant he had to keep his door open. And he hated keeping his door open. Oh well, it couldn't be helped. With great lack of enthusiasm, Naruto walked over to his door and opened it wide. Neji, please. I told you, I was just going through a midlife crisis. I'm not going to kill myself with fatal paper cuts, I swear. Gaara said through gritted teeth. Seriously, Neji was breathing down his back all day yesterday, and already at it this morning. Stupid dares and their side effects. Midlife crisis, my ass. How old are you? Like, 30, Neji exasperated. 25, Gaara growled. Yeah, so there's no possible way you're going into a midlife crisis. The red-haired man sighed and opened his office door. He slammed it shut behind him before Neji had a chance to enter. Walking over to his desk, he dropped his briefcase on the floor and loosened his gray tie. Green eyes locked onto a yellow post-it note stuck to his stapler. He picked it up and examined it before smirking. 15 points, huh? The sound of the door opening pulled Gaara out of his thoughts. Neji stuck his head in and looked at the redhead warily. Oh, Neji. Perfect timing, Gaara said. Could you help me move my desk? The Hyuga stared at him for a moment before nodding. Together, the two pushed the cumbersome desk all the way to the other side of the room. Gaara put his hand to his chin and hummed. Hey Chen, never mind. Okay, let's move it back. What? But we just moved it. Neji whined. The redhead shrugged. I don't like it here. I liked it where I had it. Neji growled, but helped push the desk back into its original place nonetheless. Thanks, Neji. I couldn't have done it without you, Gaara said with a taunting smirk. Neji just growled and left the room. Well, now that my dare is done, I can focus on my work, the red-haired man said and walked over to his desk. Aburame Shino hasn't always been one to willingly help others around him. That is, until he entered the bathroom that fateful Tuesday morning. The pale man finished doing his business and was at the sink, washing his hands when he heard a faint cry. Hello, Shino, is that you? The voice said shakily. The brunette stiffened. Yeah, who's there? Choji. Shino raised an eyebrow quizzically. What do you want, Choji? There was a long pause before the chubby man replied lowly, I'm stuck in the bathroom stall. What? I'm stuck in the bathroom stall. How? How what? How the hell are you stuck in a bathroom stall? I don't know. I wouldn't be if I knew how. Have you tried unlocking it? There was a clicking sound and a Kimichi Choji emerged from the middle stall. Shino sighed and left the bathroom. Thank you, Choji called after him, for helping me get 20 points. He added darkly and stuck out his tongue to his reflection in the bathroom mirror. Kakashi knocked on his boss' door quietly. Come in, came the man's dark voice from the other side. The silver-haired man entered the dark office quietly and bowed to his boss in respect. I just thought I should let you know, Uchiha-san. Sasuke raised an eyebrow at the awkward pause that Kakashi made. He nodded his head for the older man to continue. And Yuzuka Kiba is walking around on his hands and knees with a stick in his mouth. Where? Outside the building. I think he's circling it. The Uchiha sighed and rubbed his temples. Okay, we shall pretend we don't know him. If he talks to you, spray him with pepper spray. Kakashi suppressed a chuckle and tried to remain serious. I don't have pepper spray, sir. Why not? Pepper spray is now a Konoha employee necessity. Yes, sir. Lee sauntered up to Haruno Sakura's desk casually and leaned against it. Ni, Sakura-chan. No, Lee. I will not go on another date with you. The pink-haired woman replied quickly. The bushy-browed man pouted slightly, but shook his head. No, I wasn't going to ask that. I just wanted to know if you saw that absolutely brilliant TV program last night. Sakura looked up at him and tilted her head to the side in a questioning manner. Which one? Oh, you know, the one with the people in the city on Earth. At that moment, Sakura's phone rang. Phone, someone shouted. The pink-haired woman furrowed her eyebrows and answered it. She waved her hand in a shooing manner, sending Lee off. The black-haired man grinned as he walked away. 10 points for me. Nora, I need you to view over this meeting schedule for me and return it by lunchtime, Sasuke said as he entered the lazy man's office. Phone rings. Phone. Shikamaru smirked and pulled out a handkerchief from his back pocket. Sasuke watched in utter confusion as Shikamaru wiped down the folder with the linen before removing it from his hands. Another phone rings. Phone. Sasuke sighed. Okay, I'm not going to ask, because frankly, I'm really tired. So I'll let all of you slide today. Whatever do you mean, Uchiha-san? The black-haired man asked mockingly. Don't push it, Nara. The raven growled and left the office. Phone rings. Phone. Naruto, shut up. Okay. Naruto woke up to the bright sun in his face. He grimaced and sat up, only to fall back down from a sharp pain in his back. Always he gasped out. Morning, dope, Sasuke said with a smirk as he entered the room with a glass of water and 2 painkiller tablets. He set them aside on the nightstand so he could help his lover sit up. Heh, you sure took a banging last night. Shut up, Team the blonde growled and gulped down the offered pills. Sasuke chuckled and kissed Naruto on the forehead lightly. You don't have to come to work today if you don't want to. Naruto considered it for a moment before shaking his head. We have a meeting today, right? HN, it's nothing really. Just a parking lot plan. Oh, then yeah, I'm out. Naruto grinned. The raven smirked and kissed the blonde on the lips gently. I suppose you'll stay here, then. Yeah, I'll just sleep and watch TV or something. Alright then, I'm going to take a shower. Okay. Sasuke kissed him once more before departing into the bathroom. Naruto sighed and laid back in the bed. He brought his arm over his face and let out a shaky breath as he thought back to the conversation he had yesterday at the bar. Flashback. Shikamaru and Naruto sat at the bar following work that day. The blonde felt more relaxed for some reason. Naruto, Shikamaru said bemusedly, grabbing the blonde's attention. Are you and Sasuke careful about hiding your relationship? Naruto hummed in thought for a moment. Yeah, I guess. Well, you're not doing a very good job cause that idiot Kiba has noticed something's been going on between you two. Eh? Yeah. He said he's going to investigate the situation. So you and Sasuke need to be on your guard. End flashback. I need to tell Sasuke before he leaves, the blonde said with a yawn as he became drowsy and soon fell back asleep. Sasuke re-entered his bedroom and got dressed. He looked back at the snoring blonde and smiled. See you later, dope. Hyuga Neji almost fell out of his chair when Gaara rushed in with a black handkerchief over his face. Gaara, what are you doing? This is a hold-up, he said curtly, pointing his fingers at Neji like guns. Give me your chair. The things I do for 30 points. WH what? Neji stammered, flabbergasted. I said give me your chair. Gaara repeated unenthusiastically. What's going on here? A dark voice asked in amusement. Gaara and Neji stared in horror as their boss stood in the doorway of the brunette's office. Gaara and I were just rehearsing a scene for a play that we'll be doing at the children's hospital this weekend, Neji said quickly. Sasuke nodded, failing miserable to hide his smile. Don't be too loud, he said, and walked away with a chuckle. Neji rushed over to the door and shut it, locking it in the process. Damn it, Gaara. What's going on with you? The copy machine, your stapler, Neji Wedgie, what are you doing? The redhead man stared at him blankly. Neji growled and flung himself at the man, pushing him against the desk. And Neji, what are you? Gaara asked frantically as his handkerchief was pulled down roughly, but he was cut off by a pair of lips. Green eyes widened in astonishment. The brunette pulled away and rested his head on Gaara's shoulder. What's going on with you? He asked weakly. You've changed sort of. I mean, it's for the better, I guess. But I don't know. Gaara continued to stare at the older man. Gaara. Neji breathed out huskily, bringing his lips up to meet Gaara's once more. No, no, Gaara cried, pushing the Hyuga away forcefully. He ran over to the door and fumbled with the lock. Once he got that out of the way, he made a mad dash for his office and locked the door behind him. The redhead breathed harshly and leaned against the wooden entryway, sliding down to a sitting position. What the hell, Neji? Stop it. Seriously, Lee. That's ridiculous. Quit it. Kiba stifled his laughter in his hand as Lee ceased his actions of slamming his desk drawer repeatedly. That didn't take very long. He mused aloud. Yeah, well, it said until someone complained. Lee snickered. And you got 3. The bushy-browed man nodded and looked over at the dog lover. What's yours? Kiba smirked and placed his hands behind his head. I got an easy one this time. I have to gargle everything I drink before swallowing it. Lee pouted and crossed his arms. Lucky he leaned back in his chair to get a full view of the hallway to see Choji getting settled in his cubicle. I wonder what Choji's is. Kiba shrugged and took a gulp of his coffee, gargled it, then swallowed. Lee scrunched his nose at the sight. You know what? That's kind of disgusting. The brunette chuckled and did it again. You, the bushy brow man commented. IWANTPOTATOECHIPS period. What the fuck? Kiba said lowly, looking down the hallway. Yo, Choji. What's the deal, man? The chubby man looked over at him and winked before going back to typing on the computer. STFUKIBA. Kiba and Lee broke down laughing. Choji sounded so humorous and so concentrated on what he was doing while he typed. And it also made him seem stupid for saying each letter so measured. Oh, it's time for the meeting, Lee announced and stood up, grabbing his jacket off the back of his chair. Yes, that means lunch is near. Kiba cheered. Which means more time to fulfill my dare. Nara, can I ask you a question? And I need a serious, honest answer, Sasuke said, his chin resting on his folded hands. Sasuke, Shikamaru, and Sai sat in the conference room, waiting for everyone else to show up to the meeting. Yes, sir, Shikamaru said slowly. Why was Naruto's chair in the elevator this morning? Shikamaru and Sai snickered. Well, sir, I honestly don't know, the lazy man replied. Aha, the raven said in an amused tone. Then would you care to tell me who did it? Cause you were the first one here today, and I was the third, and I highly doubt Temari would have done it. Aw, geez, this is pointless. Shikamaru growled in his throat. I put it there, just as a prank, sir. That's all I wanted to know. But your prank was futile because Naruto isn't coming in today. Shikamaru smirked. Why not? Because he's having backaches. Sasuke replied curtly. Wow, he's been busy lately. The black-haired man taunted. Sasuke narrowed his eyes and glared at Shikamaru as a warning for him to stop now or else. Hey, everyone. The star has arrived. Kiba joked as he entered the conference room with Choji, Gaara, Neji, and Lee. The brunette looked around and furrowed his eyebrows. He was waiting for his blonde-haired friend's normal reply, like, what are you talking about? The star arrived 5 minutes ago. Ni, where's Naruto? Uchiha-san. Do I look like his mother? Kiba. Sasuke retorted. Kiba shook his head quickly and sat down. I'm home, Sasuke called as he closed the front door behind him. He took a whiff of the air as he removed his shoes and set his briefcase on a glass table. Naruto. Welcome home, Sasuke. Naruto greeted cheerfully. What are you cooking? The raven asked as he entered the kitchen and spotted the pot simmering on the stove. It smells good. Naruto giggled and held a ladle in the air. Miso ramen. Sasuke's face fell immediately. Noticing this, Naruto pouted. What's wrong with ramen? The Uchiha sighed and waved his hand in the air. Oh, nothing. Nothing except for the fact that you ate it yesterday for lunch and dinner. And I bet you had it today for breakfast and lunch as well. The last part was just a joke, but judging the guilty expression that flashed over his lover's face, Sasuke knew he was right. Well, I'm going to review over some papers for work in the bedroom. the raven announced as he exited the kitchen. You don't want any ramen? Naruto called out after him. No, you eat enough for the two of us. Sasuke smirked. Later that night, Naruto walked into the bedroom and crawled onto the bed. Sasuke lifted his eyes to see the blonde and dropped them back down to the paper in his hand. The blonde flopped down on the Uchiha's lap and placed his head on Sasuke's chest, blocking his view of the paper. Naruto. Sasuke growled. Naruto just looked at him and grinned. What happened at work today, Sasuke? Anything interesting? Sasuke raised an eyebrow quizzically at the suggestive tone of the question. Shikamaru, put your chair in the elevator. What? Oh, he is so going to get it tomorrow, Naruto exclaimed. Sasuke snickered and tilted his head back. Kiba was gargling everything he drank today. It was gross. Choji found it necessary to alert everyone on the 6th floor what letter he was typing. And apparently Gaara and Neji are doing a play at the children's hospital. Naruto was quiet for a while. Sasuke looked down to see if his dobe was sleeping, only to have a head of golden blonde hair shoot up, hitting him in the nose. The fuck, Naruto? Oh, god damn it. Oh my god, Sasuke. I'm sorry, Naruto cried. Anyway, I wanted to tell you something important. The Uchiha growled but listened to what Naruto had to say. Shikamaru told me that Kiba suspects us. Ebony eyes widened. So that's why he asked where you were. Sasuke thought to himself. Well then we won't give him anything to suspect. The raven said and rolled the blonde over so that he was on top, straddling him. What do you mean? Naruto half moaned as Sasuke attacked his neck. At the office, we act like normal boss and employee, Sasuke explained in his ear. Naruto frowned. No more punishments. Sasuke paused. That would be hard, considering it was really hot to do it in the office. Only during lunch breaks, he said quickly. Naruto nodded in agreement. Okay, so I go back to referring to as a bastard with a 10-foot pole in his ass. Sasuke narrowed his eyes. And I go back to calling you a total idiot who is skating on thin ice. The blonde gulped, but nodded nonetheless. They were going to have to be much careful now. Are you fucking serious? Shikamaru nodded with a smirk. That's the one you were supposed to do yesterday. The others for today, he informed his blonde friend, pointing to the 2 pieces of paper that contained the information of Naruto's dares. Naruto picked them up and read them aloud. Carry your keyboard over to a colleague and ask you wanna trade. 15 points. Demand to know from your boss what the emergency procedure is in the event of your office being hit by a meteorite. 20 points. The black-haired man stared at his friend who was just sitting there in an awkward silence, staring at the dares. Unexpectedly, Naruto burst out laughing. Oh my god, I can't wait to do these. Shikamaru smirked. Have you told Uchiha-san? Told him what? Naruto asked, looking at him. About Kiba. Oh, yeah, I told him last night. And what? What are you guys going to do about it? We're not doing anything in the office. The lazy man sighed and looked at Naruto with that. Are you serious? Look, what? Naruto asked in defense. That's it. Well, yeah, we're just going to be really careful. Shikamaru shook his head and sighed. Did the thought of you two ending your fucked up relationship ever occur in your minds? Why the hell would it? You're married to Temari-chan and she's working here. Choji and Ino are going out. Zabuza and Haku are going out. Why can't Sasuke and I go out? Naruto stated. Because Choji isn't Ino's boss. Zabuza isn't Haku's boss. I am not Temari's boss. Sasuke is your boss. Shikamaru growled out. And if anyone found out about you two, everyone will think you're getting special treatment from him. Before I realized that you two actually loved each other, I thought you were having sex with him simply to keep all of our jobs. Naruto. The blonde crossed his arm and looked over at his bookshelf. He couldn't distinguish the predicament with his and Sasuke's affiliation. I'm not going to stop seeing him, Shika. Fine. But if you get caught, I will rub it in your face and say I told you so, Shikamaru said in a sing-song tone. Naruto raised an eyebrow and watched as his friend stomped out of the room. Hey, Sakura-chan, Lee said in a bubbly voice. No, Lee, I will not go on another date with you, the pink-haired woman said curtly. Lee pouted. Are you going to say that every time I come to talk to you? Sakura put her finger on her chin and thought for a moment before nodding. Yeah. The bushy brow man frowned but perked up quickly, remembering what he came to do. Will you sign a petition for me? Sakura stared at him blankly before replying. A petition for what? I want to keep a gerbil in the office to boost morale. The pink-haired woman wrinkled her nose. Ew, gerbils look like mice and I hate mice. No way am I signing the thing. BB but Sakura-chan. No, Lee. Lee's shoulders sagged. Fine, but I'm sure I will find many others who will support my goal. With that, he stomped off towards Ino's desk. Choose the most irritating person in a meeting and repeat every word they say in a high-pitched voice whilst opening and closing the fingers of your right hand as if operating a glove puppet. Well, Neji's irritating. Gaara growled loudly and banged his head on his desk. Ever since Neji kissed him yesterday, every single one of the redhead's thoughts somehow included Neji in them. Whether it be what he wanted to eat for dinner or if he should flip of that guy in the red car for cutting in front of him. Damn that man. He breathed out. Gaara looked up slowly when someone knocked on the door. Come in. Neji came in slowly and shut the door behind him. Gaara sighed and stood up from his chair calmly. He leisurely walked over to the window and pulled up the blinds with the cord. He then opened it and stuck a leg outside. I have to go. Neji panicked and ran over to him, wrapping his arms around his chest. Idiot. We're on the 6th floor. With a sudden and powerful pull, the two fell backwards onto the carpeted floor. Gaara's eyes widened at the position they were in and sat up immediately, only to be halted by a pair of strong arms grasping his forearms. Neji stared at the redhead sadly. I'm sorry, he said softly. Gaara felt a little uneasy by the situation. And not only that, but he was also feeling uncomfortable in his pants due to their placement. For kissing you yesterday. I know you're not gay and all. Neji fumbled around with his words miserably. The redhead bit his lip as he stared down at the Hyuga. Neji's glossy brown hair was spread out underneath his head. His eyes were glazed over and his cheeks were lightly colored with red. Gaara screwed his eyes shut tight and leaned forward, claiming the brunette's lips with his own. Neji almost stopped breathing. Here he was, under Gaara and being kissed by him. Sure, their position wasn't intentional, but who cares? Gaara was kissing him. He loosened his grip on the other man's arms and sighed happily into the kiss, closing his eyes slowly. Gaara pulled back and gazed down at the Hyuga with half-lidded eyes. He was waiting for Neji to do or say something. The brunette man opened his eyes and stared back at Gaara. He sat up, bringing his legs up slightly as well for Gaara to lean back on, and pulled the redhead to him for another kiss. After a bit of coaxing, he got Gaara to open his mouth, allowing Neji's tongue to slip in and taste every part of his cavern. They pulled away for much-needed oxygen and panted softly. Neji smirked when he felt something hard poke his stomach. That's all it takes to get you riled up, eh? He teased, rubbing his hand against Gaara's erect member. Gaara groaned and laid his head on Neji's shoulder. Fuck ... he growled out through fritted teeth. I don't think so, Neji said teasingly. He rolled over, causing Gaara to fall onto his back, and hovered over the man. He attacked the redhead's neck, nipping and licking every inch of Gaara's pale skin. Then Neji. Gaara gasped when he felt a hand undoing the button and zipper on his pants. He hissed as the cold air hit his member, but the hand immediately went to work on pumping him. Neji ceased his actions on the neck and pulled his head up to see Gaara panting. His eyes glazed over with lust. He removed his hand from the cock, earning a faint whine at the loss, and moved down on Gaara's body, sitting on his legs. He pulled the brown dress pants down to Gaara's knees and glanced back at the redhead's face. Green eyes were watching his every movement intensely. Neji smirked and lowered his head down to Gaara's manhood and swiftly licked the pre-cum that was beating from the head. Gaara gasped and arched his back up. Neji's smirk widened and he took in the man's member into his mouth. Neji. Gaara cried out in surprise and bucked his hips up. Neji chuckled the best he could with a cock in his mouth and held Gaara's hips down with his hands. It didn't take long for Gaara to come into the Hyuga's waiting mouth. Fuck, he's good at that. Neji sat up and licked up a bit of semen that was on the corner of his mouth. Do you have any lube? He asked quietly. Gaara looked at him with that. Are you serious? Look. Oh, yeah. It's over there on my desk right next to my genie lamp. He replied sarcastically. Neji glared at him intensely. I was just asking, geez. He looked around slowly. I have hand cream in my office. Stay here. Gaara watched Neji with wide eyes as the brunette walked over to his desk and grabbed a sheet of paper to use as a shield for his little problem. After all, Neji had to walk past Zabuza, Temari, and 1010 just to get to his office. A minute passed before Neji re-entered Gaara's office with a light green tube in his hand. He locked the door and dropped the sheet of paper onto the desk. Damn, that hurt. The Hyuga grumbled as he kneeled down next to Gaara. Gaara sat up and stared at Neji as the man undid his tie. Subconsciously, the redhead began to unbutton Neji's shirt for him, kissing each patch of skin that was revealed. The brunette stared down at the other man in surprise. Not that he was complaining or anything. He just never thought of Gaara as the gentle type. When Gaara got to the last fasten, he pushed the dress shirt off of Neji's shoulders and allowed it to fall to the ground soundlessly. He then quickly unbuttoned his shirt and took it off, throwing to some part of the room. Neji quickly unbuckled his leather belt and opened his pants up, removing them and his boxers in one fluid movement. He picked up the tube of hand cream and covered his fingers with lube. He used his clean hand to place on Gaara's chest and forced him to lay on his back. He put one digit into his entrance without warning and cringed when he saw the pain-filled face Gaara made. The Hyuga waited for Gaara to adjust before inserting a second finger. He stretched out the other man's hole and pulled his fingers out quickly. Neji was about to squirt some more hand cream onto his hand when Gaara put his hand on the bottle. The Hyuga gave a confused look at the redhead. "Let me do it," Gaara demanded and removed the tube from Neji's hand. He spurted a large sum of the green tea-scented hand cream onto his hand and smeared it with the other. He then coated Neji's erect member with the cream. The Hyuga shuddered as Gaara stroked his member so adroitly. He began to pant and almost whimpered when Gaara removed his hands from his cock. "Okay," Gaara said bemusedly. He laid back down and looked at Neji anxiously. Neji swallowed hard as he positioned himself in front of Gaara. A nod from Gaara was the only hint he gave that he was ready. Neji smirked and slammed into the red head. Gaara bit his hand to keep from yelling out and arched completely off the floor, his chest crashing into Neji's. Neji groaned and pulled back before thrusting back in again. He started a steady rhythm, Gaara meeting each of his thrusts. The Hyuga looked over the other man who was in a world pleasure at the moment. His eyes were screwed shut and he was biting onto his thumb, doing his best to suppress any of his moans. It was a real turn-on in the brunette's opinion. However, anything the redhead did was a turn-on to the Hyuga. Neji reached between them and wrapped a hand around Gaara's member, stroking the inflamed organ in time with his movements and panting quickly. Fuck, Neji harder." Neji complied and removed Gaara's hand from his mouth as he moved harder and faster into Gaara. Gaara let out a restrained cry as he released his seed onto their stomachs. Neji followed soon after while crashing his lips into Gaara's. Sasuke was startled when his office door was opened forcefully. Naruto marched over to his desk and slammed his hands down on the surface. "Uchiha-san, I demand to know what the emergency procedure is if the office is ever hit by a meteorite." The Uchiha's left eye twitched in provocation. He had forgotten that once Naruto returned to the office after his day off meant more eccentricity. "There is 0% chance that we will ever get hit by a meteorite, Naruto." "Uchiha-san, this is a very serious matter," Naruto exasperated, lifting himself up on his toes to make himself taller. "Okay, you want to know what we do if we're ever hit by a meteorite? I'll tell you. We quickly build a shrine and offer you as a human sacrifice to some great power from above so they might take pity on us and make the meteorite burn up in Earth's atmosphere." The blonde stared at the raven warily. "Why me? Choji would make a much more promising sacrifice." Uchiha-san, don't do that," he cried as his boss began banging his head on the desk. "Naruto, don't you have work to do or something?" Sasuke growled. He narrowed his ebony eyes when the blonde began giggling at the extensive red mark that was on his forehead. Yeah, see you later, Uchiha-san," Naruto said after he ceased his chuckle. He left the room calmly and closed the door behind him. Sasuke sighed and dropped his head into hands. "I need an aspirin." As if the world was against him, a knock ensued on his door. "Come in," he called out tiredly. Kiba entered the office timidly, making the Uchiha growl in displeasure. "What is it, Kiba?" The brunette sighed and locked eyes with Sasuke. "Am I fired yet?" he recited. Sasuke smirked and leaned back in his chair. "Oh, do you want to be fired?" Kiba shook his head violently. "Good. Then leave, because I have a massive headache and you're not making me feel any better," the raven said jadedly. Kiba nodded and bowed swiftly before exiting the room. Sasuke smirked and looked over at his laptop. "I hate that guy." Naruto put his hands behind his head as he and Shikamaru left the conference room. He glanced over at the lazy man and furrowed his eyebrows. Shikamaru, what was that word you said back there in the meeting?" Shikamaru looked at Naruto through the corner of his eye and smirked. "What the?" The blonde nodded. That was just a made-up word. I had to do it as my dare. I almost forgot. I have to complete my other dare. See you later, Shika." To say Uchiha Sasuke was pissed would be an understatement. The man was blistering discontent as he leered at the two men in his office. Naruto stood off to the side, staring at the bluish-green colored man. He looked like a cartoon character design, but real. The guy's skin was an odd color. He had gills like a shark, and speaking of sharks, this guy had pointy teeth. Sharp white eyes met blue and Naruto flinched slightly. "Do you have a problem, punk?" the tall man asked threateningly. Naruto shook his head violently and looked out the window, which just so happened to have closed blinds in front of it, so the gesture seemed pretty pointless. The blonde looked over to see Sasuke and an older man that looked a lot like him holding a staring contest. Well, more like a glaring contest. What do you want, Itachi? Sasuke hissed between gritted teeth. Uchiha Itachi smirked wickedly at his younger brother. Oh, I was just in town and decided to see how this little business is doing. I've been far too busy with much more important companies that I forgot all about the planning department, he replied mockingly. Sasuke growled and looked at Naruto, who, for the second time, flinched. We'll continue our conversation later, Uzumaki. Please go back to work. The blonde nodded and left the room quickly. As I was saying, little brother, I just wanted to make sure that the company wasn't in financial debt or anything, the older Uchiha said as he walked over to a bookshelf and skimmed the titles. I would never allow that to happen, Sasuke snapped. So you can leave now. Itachi chuckled derisively and looked over his shoulder to his bodyguard, Confederate. Kasama, I do believe Sasuke is demanding our departure. The blue-skinned man merely glanced at his business partner and sighed softly. Sasuke, have you forgotten that I'm your superior? The younger Uchiha gulped and looked at the wall, crossing his arms in a childish manner. I think I'll look around the place a bit, Itachi said in an almost daring tone. Come on, Kisame. Sasuke watched as the two men left the room and slumped back in his chair. At least he's always managed a tight ship on the 6th floor. Itachi just wants to see one slip up and he'll have me out of here. He's never wanted to share the family business with me, no matter how small the corporation. Slip-ups. Naruto's friends. Oh shit. Hyuga Neji leaned back in his swivel chair and sighed. He'd finished all his assigned work in only 2 hours and was bored out of his mind. Furthermore, Gaara hasn't spoken to him since their little episode in the Redhead's office, besides the 2 seconds Gaara used to say goodbye to him yesterday before entering the elevator. As if God was answering his deepest wish, said Redhead knocked on the doorframe of the open entryway. Neji sat up in his chair and smirked. What do you need, Gaara? He inquired tauntingly. Gaara shrugged and walked over to the gray trash bin on the side of the Hyuga's desk. The brunette raised an elegant eyebrow as he watched Gaara dig through the bin and pull out a document that had a red X over the whole page. Can I keep this? Sure, if you want, Neji answered slowly. The brunette continued to watch Gaara as he stood up and sauntered out of the room. The hell? Choji leaned against Shikamaru's desk while the black-haired man typed away. What ya doin', Shika? He asked melodiously. I'm sending an email to everyone asking how many of them would be prepared to respond to an unsolicited email even if they thought it was a total waste of time. Shikamaru responded without looking away from the screen. Choji stared down at his friend and inhaled deeply. What ya doin'? He repeated. Get out, Shikamaru said tiredly. But, out, Shikamaru. No, but, leave. WH. Now, Shika, go away, Choji. The chubby man sighed and left the office. When he closed the door behind him, he smirked victoriously and skipped to his desk. Hey Lee, can I borrow your scotch tape? Kiba asked in a bored tone. Rock Lee raised an eyebrow at him and grinned evilly. I dunno. Can you? Kiba growled in the back of his throat. Aw, not this kindergarten shit again. May I borrow some scotch tape? May I see your ID? What? Yes, stop that. Lee chuckled and tossed a roll of unopened tape to Kiba. Sorry, my dare is to answer everyone's questions with questions of my own, he explained discreetly. Kiba grimaced. He was going to have to deal with that all day. Kakashi watched the blonde cautiously as he entered his office. Yo, Kakashi, Naruto greeted cheerfully. What do you want, Naruto? The silver-haired man asked awkwardly. Naruto grinned and chuckled mischievously. I just wanted to congratulate you on being the only employee to not use the copy machine at all this month. Kakashi's left eye twitched. What? I do recall using the copier this morning. Naruto continued to beam and walked out of the room, closing the door loudly behind him. Something's up. Is he doing this cause he saw Iruka and me? No, he wouldn't start acting weird daughter just because of that. There's something more. Kakashi shook his head and looked over to the large, full office plant in the corner of the room. You can come out, Iruka, said brunette stood up and sighed deeply. At least he knocked this time, the brunette said quietly as he sauntered over to the other man. Kakashi smirked and grabbed Iruka by the wrist and pulled the brunette down for a heated kiss. 2 hours later, Kakashi blinked as Naruto stood in front of his desk once again with that whacked-out grin he normally wears when he knows he's in trouble. I just wanted to congratulate you on not using the bathroom yet today. Stop that. Stop what? Stop congratulating me on crap I didn't do. I've used the bathroom twice today. Naruto just smiled wickedly. Aw, no need to be modest, paintbrush head. Kakashi's eyes widened, then narrowed dangerously. What did you just say? I said that Kasama and I will be staying with you in your house for the 2 weeks we'll be here. Are you hard of hearing, little brother? Itachi replied, smirking in a knowing manner. Sasuke gritted his teeth. Get a hotel. Itachi shook his head in an amused manner. The hotels around here are so low class. Do you not want us at your house because there's something you don't want us to see? The younger Uchiha shivered, mainly because the cold air was blowing against him as he stood in the doorway of his house. Fine, he growled. He allowed his brother and Kasame to enter the foyer. Stay here. I'll be right back. Sasuke rushed up the dark wooden stairs and dashed into his bedroom and entered the bathroom where Naruto was taking a shower. Dobe, hide. Naruto looked at Sasuke questionably and turned off the water hurriedly. What's wrong, Sasuke? He asked as he stepped out of the glass shower and grabbed a towel off the rack. My brother is here with his business partner. You need to hide. Despite the situation, Sasuke didn't pass up the chance to rake his eyes over his lover's delectable body. Sasuke, Itachi's voice called out expectantly from downstairs. Sasuke, for the first time in his life, felt the world crumbling under his feet. Shit. Kiba shifted in his seat and looked around the table. Shikamaru sighed. Lee sighed. Naruto sighed. Okay, if one more person sighs I will smack them. The brunette threatened. Gaara lifted a non-existent eyebrow at this and let out a long, exaggerated sigh. Kiba eyed him, but remained still. Except for Gaara, cause I respect him so much. Fear, respect, same thing. Naruto laid his head down on the table and thought back to the happenings of last night. Flashback. Why can't I just hide in the closet? Naruto yelled in a whisper as Sasuke gathered the blonde's clothes. Because Itachi is a nosy ass. Sasuke shoved the clothes into the owner's arms and pushed him out of the bathroom and into the large bedroom. What kind of person is your brother? Naruto inquired, wanting to know what kind of person would just march into someone else's closet. Why can't he just know about us? Sasuke paused and looked over at Naruto dangerously. He's my brother, Naruto. Moreover, my boss. If he finds out I am having an affair with one of my employees, he will fire me. And you. The younger Uchiha opened a window and looked down. Come here. The blonde stared at Sasuke in horror. Sasuke, you're not thinking what I think you're thinking, are you? It can't be helped, Naruto. The raven said and quickly grabbed Naruto by the wrist just as he turned around to run away. Sasuke, no. Naruto cried out in a squeaky voice. We're on the second floor. You always jump of the balcony in the foyer. It's the same height, Sasuke said, trying to be reasonable. I just won't be there for you to land on this time. I'm only wearing a towel. Naruto protested, hugging his clothes to his chest tighter. Sasuke, Itachi's menacing voice called through the door, followed by a few taps indicating that he was outside in the hallway. Naruto, please. Sasuke pressed his lips on Naruto's roughly. When he pulled away he looked at his lover with sincere, ebony eyes. The blonde sighed and nodded. He tossed his clothes out the window and then allowed Sasuke to lower him out. The Uchiha leaned over as much as he could to give Naruto as little falling time as possible. With a nod, Sasuke released Naruto, who fell to the ground with a soft thud. See you tomorrow, the raven said quietly and leaned back into the room, closing the window just in time as Itachi opened the door. End flashback. It's lunchtime and I've yet to see Sasuke. Naruto pouted. Yumino Iruka has known Uzumaki Naruto ever since the blonde prankster had come to work on the 6th floor at Konoha Planning Department 2 years ago. Naruto was always nice, excluding the fact that he was loud and fairly annoying. However, never has Iruka seen the blonde so down before. You could just feel his depressing aura in the air as he passed by with his shoulders hunched and his head hanging low. Naruto-kun, Iruka called sweetly as the younger man passed his office door. Naruto looked over with tired eyes and a grave expression. Yes, the brunette bit his bottom lip and looked down. Could you come in here for a moment? The blonde nodded and dragged his feet into the room. Close the door, he commanded. Naruto obeyed and leaned against it. Is something wrong, Naruto? Iruka asked with deep concern. Naruto shook his head slowly and looked at the wall. Just a little tired. I was up late last night at a party. Iruka furrowed his eyebrows. He couldn't tell if the blonde was speaking the truth or not. I see. Well, I was just worried. You don't look to be doing well. How about you go home? I can tell Uchiha-san for you, Iruka suggested. Naruto thought for a minute and then nodded. Thanks, Iruka. He pushed himself off the door and walked down the hallway to his office, collecting his briefcase and jacket. Maybe I can drown my sorrows into a bowl of ramen. Uchiha-san, I just wanted to let you know that Naruto is leaving early today. He wasn't feeling well, Iruka called out in a stern voice as his boss walked past his office. Sasuke paused and looked at the older man. He then turned around to see the elevator doors shut, giving him a millisecond glimpse of his lover. Furrowing his eyebrows, Sasuke nodded in understanding and walked away to his office. Dobe. Lee skidded to a stop by his desk and let out a loud sigh. That was not 10 laps, Kiba objected. The bushy-browed man turned and glared at him. Of course it was. You're just upset because I ran 10 laps at a faster speed that you'll never be able to reach. PSH, yeah right. That was, what? 8 laps. 2 more buddy. Kiba argued. No way. That was 10 motherfucking laps. The brunette's eyebrows rose at this. Lee hardly ever cursed like that. Ebony eyes drifted down the hallway to see his blonde friend walking tiredly towards the elevator. Oi, Naruto. You leaving, man? Naruto turned around and flashed him a sheepish grin while rubbing the back of his neck. Yeah, not feeling too great, you know. Aw, I gotcha. See you tomorrow. Kiba grinned. Lee waved enthusiastically to the blonde as well. The two men watched Naruto walk towards the elevator. As he waited for it, Sasuke came into the hallway and looked as if he were talking to someone. He looked over at Naruto and shuffled quickly back into his office. Kiba scratched his cheek with his index finger and hummed. Lee, have you noticed anything weird between Naruto and Uchiha-san? The black-haired man looked over at the brunette and frowned. Now that you mention it, they do seem to be closer. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. You don't think they're together, do you? Of course not. Naruto always says he hates Uchiha-san. Ever since Uchiha-san came to work here. I know. I just think that they're a little ... you know. No, I don't know. Kiba growled and glared at Lee from the corner of his eye. Forget it. Lee's difficult to reason with. Neji picked up his phone as it rang and held it tightly in his hand. Hello. Hi, Neji. This is Gaara. I just called to say I can't talk right now. Bye. Wait. Gaara. I just said I can't talk right now. I know. And you've called me, saying this 3 times in the past 10 minutes. Neji exasperated. So quit it. The Hyuga growled and slammed the phone down on the receiver. The brunette stared at the black phone. It was mocking him. He could hear it. You loser. You just hung up on your potential boyfriend. Idiot. Dipshi. I'll call him back. Silence. Pure, lonesome silence. I'm yelling at my phone. God, I'm going crazy. Naruto walked around his apartment and took everything in. It seemed so strange for him to be here after spending so much time at Sasuke's house. He stopped in his kitchen and opened a cupboard where he normally kept his ramen and found 1 bag of instant shrimp ramen. Damn, all my ramen is at Sasuke's house. Silently, the blonde boiled the water and soon had the noodles simmering in the pot. He leaned against the counter and listened to the faint sounds of cars driving by his apartment. At 6 that evening, Naruto was sitting on his couch staring past the TV that was playing some movie he'd never heard of, and it wasn't exactly grabbing his attention. A knock on his door pulled him out of his lull state and he got up slowly to go answer it. Astonished blue eyes met smug black as Naruto and Sasuke stared at each other. Naruto narrowed his eyes. Team, what are you doing here? Sasuke just smirked and pushed his way past the blonde and looked around the apartment. He had only been to Naruto's apartment once, but the dobe made him wait outside in the hallway. Did you come here from work? Naruto asked, noting that the other man was still in his tie and jacket. Sasuke nodded curtly and turned around to look at his blonde. Uruka told me you went home early because you weren't feeling well, he said bemusedly. He walked over to the blonde and placed his hands on each side of his face. He placed his lips on Naruto's forehead and pulled back after a few seconds. Faker. Wah. Naruto gasped, pulling away from the Uchiha. Sasuke smirked and walked over to the ugly orange couch. Plopping down on it, he kicked his shoes off and placed his feet on top of the table. My mom, he began, staring blankly at the TV screen. Naruto walked over slowly to sit next to the raven-haired man. Sasuke never talked about his family before except for his hatred for Itachi. My mom would always see if Itachi and I had a fever by pressing her lips to our foreheads. She could always tell when we were faking it or not somehow. I guess because our foreheads wouldn't be hot or anything. Naruto listened quietly to the Uchiha. It wasn't like him to ramble on aimlessly unless he wanted something. Why are you here, Sasuke? The blonde sounded more curious than angry. Sasuke let out an elongated sigh and closed his eyes, leaning his head back. I don't want to stay in the same house as my brother for 2 weeks, he almost pouted as he said this. And you want to stay here? Naruto asked as confirmation. If you don't mind, Sasuke said quickly, looking at his lover. Naruto shook his head quickly. No, I don't mind. I'm just surprised. Compared to your house, this is like a cardboard box that once held a refrigerator. Sasuke chuckled lightly at this and shook his head. It's the best cardboard box I've ever seen. Naruto waited hesitantly before leaning over and kissing Sasuke on the lips. The Uchiha participated eagerly and put hand on the back of Naruto's neck and head. Feeling a little confident, Naruto pushed Sasuke back, who complied and laid on top of him. When the two broke for air, Naruto went down to Sasuke's ear and nibbled on the earlobe softly before whispering, Do you think I could be top tonight? Sasuke smirked. Nope. Naruto woke up to the sound of the phone ringing and looked around. Momentarily flailing his limbs around, he quickly reached over to the silver phone on his nightstand and answered it. Hello? His voice sounded scratchy. Naruto, are you coming to work today? Shikamaru's voice sounded on the other end of the line. The man sounded as bored as ever. Naruto glared at his clock that read 6:13. Yes, Shika. Why? Good. Because I have a dare for you that you need to know before you come to work. The blonde smirked and looked back at the still sleeping Uchiha. What is it? Obsidian eyes fluttered open, squinting at the light coming through the glass balcony doors. Sasuke turned his head to see Naruto on the phone, his bare back to the Uchiha. What? That's stupid. Can't I get a better dare than that? The Raven raised an eyebrow at this, but remained silent. But Shika, well, yeah, but no. Out of all the dares I've done so far, that has got to be the lamest. I mean, how many points is it anyway? Naruto whined, leaning forward and putting his elbows on his knees. Well, I don't know. I was hoping for one similar to my second dare where I shouted in the meeting and fell out of my chair. Both of Sasuke's eyebrows raised. Because it was fun, that's why. Naruto listened as Shikamaru ranted on about something being too troublesome, then growled. Fine, fine. I'll do it. With that, Naruto hung up the phone and stretched his arms. Sasuke shut his eyes just as the blonde turned around, not wanting Naruto to know he was listening to his phone conversation. Naruto smiled softly and leaned over the Raven, kissing him on the forehead lightly. Ebony eyes fluttered open in response and the two stared at each other for a moment before Naruto grinned. Time to get up, Sasuke. Sasuke remained quiet and watched as the naked blonde got up and went into the bathroom. He frowned slightly and got out of bed to go rummage through Naruto's closet to find something to wear. Sasuke's eyebrow twitched as Naruto gasped dramatically for the third time when the elevator doors opened once more to allow some other passengers off on their floor. When they arrived on the 6th floor, Naruto gasped one more time before dashing out to meet Shikamaru at the coffee maker. Okay, that's 10 points for me, Naruto said in a bubbly voice. Shikamaru gave the blonde a side glance before sighing. That puts you ahead of the race. Naruto whooped and punched a fist into the air. You seem rather jovial today. Things go well with Sasuke last night. Nodding happily, Naruto bent over and cupped his hands around Shikamaru's ear. I topped last night. The black-haired man practically choked on his coffee and scooted away from the blonde. I could have lived without hearing that. He took a moment to glance at Naruto's wide smile, then smiled softly to himself. But I guess I'm happy for you. Heh, thanks, Naruto said happily. Shikamaru turned his head to look at the elevator doors as they opened. Gaara, Kiba, and another man with long black hair pulled back in a low, loose ponytail walked out. Gaara and Kiba walked over to Naruto and Shikamaru rather quickly. Damn, that guy is freaky, Kiba said as he shifted the strap of his messenger bag on his shoulder. Gaara nodded. He had a very creepy aura. Naruto smirked and set the paper cup he was drinking from on the counter. That's Uchiha Itachi, Uchiha-san's older brother. Kiba furrowed his eyebrows. Those two are definitely related. Silence filled the area as Gaara got a paper cup and filled it with water and Kiba retrieved an energy drink from the fridge. Finally, Shikamaru spoke. Kiba, I picked out a very good dare for you. Whatever happened to us pulling our dares from a hat? Kiba groaned. Anyways, your dare is 10 points. You have to demand a toll from everyone who passes your desk for an hour. You get an extra point if you tell them that you're a troll who'll gobble them up if they don't pay. Naruto burst out laughing, slowly falling to the floor on his knees as he hugged his arms around him. Gaara smirked in amusement and Kiba chuckled to himself. Yeah, okay, I'll definitely do it. Shikamaru smirked and looked over at Gaara. You have to walk into a very busy person's office and turn the light on and off 10 times for 15 points. Naruto laughed even louder and Kiba joined him. Gaara merely shrugged, already planning to assault one Hyuga Neji with this given opportunity. As Kiba and Naruto continued to laugh, Gaara and Shikamaru watched as a tall man with impossibly blue skin and darker blue hair walk into the kitchen area and grab a paper cup from the dispenser next to the water cooler. What the hell is so funny? He asked in a coarse voice. All laughing ceased and Kiba and Naruto stood up straight. Hey Hoshigaki-sen, Naruto stammered. Kasama eyed the blonde, recognizing him as the brat from Sasuke's office the other day. Are you guys kids or something? Talking about dares and all. What? This is a very complex and daring game that we've come up with and it's totally awesome. Naruto Shikamaru said in a warning tone. I bet you can't even handle one of the dares Shikamaru comes up with. Naruto. Kiba hissed. Because you're a stiff pansy just like Itachi. Gaara gripped the cup of water in his hand tightly and threw his arm out, allowing the water to fly out and smack Naruto in the face. The blonde looked dumbfounded as the redhead marched over to him and pulled him away, down the hall to Naruto's office. Slamming the door behind him, the redhead smacked the blonde on the forehead. Are you mental? What? No. Naruto whined, rubbing his forehead. Then what was that back there? Gaara growled, smacking Naruto upside the head again. Oh, stop that. I was just defending the game. When you should have just stayed quiet. Pretty much, yeah. Back in the kitchen area. Is that guy for real? Kasama asked in an irritated tone. Kiba scratched the back of his head and side-glanced at Shikamaru. Said man cleared his throat and took a step towards the blue man. Please excuse Naruto. He has a problem with the connection of his mouth and brain. And Nara Shikamaru. Hoshigaki Kasama. Kasama nodded. And I'm Inuzuka Kiba. Kasama nodded once again and crumpled up the empty paper cup in his hand, tossing it into the wastebasket next to Kiba. So what's this dare game anyway? It's nothing. It's just a stupid child's game, just like you said. Shikamaru replied curtly. Kasama raised an eyebrow and looked at the two men expectantly. You know I could always tell Sasuke what you guys are doing. Shikamaru groaned. Well, if you're going to go there, Kiba, explain the game. Kiba swallowed hard. Well, we each get one dare a day. The points are distributed depending on the riskiness of the dare, that's pretty much it. And by dares, what kind? The blue man prodded. Shikamaru answered this time. Simple office dares such as putting cling wrap on the toilets or shouting out in the middle of a meeting. Kasama smirked. Sounds fun, why do you do it? Shikamaru and Kiba looked at each other knowingly. Because it motivates us to come to work each day. Everyone on the 6th floor paused what they were doing when they heard the intercom beep on their phone, a familiar, unmistakable voice sounding. Rock Lee, could you please report to the back desk? Rock Lee, report to the back desk. Sakura banged her hands on her desktop and looked down the hall. Lee, get off the intercom, damn it. Sorry. Gaara dodged the tape dispenser that Neji threw at him mercilessly. God damn it, Gaara. I am very busy and I do not need you to come in here turning the lights on and off. Neji shouted. The redhead calmly picked up the tape dispenser and placed it on the Hyuga's desk. Neji's grouchy today as usual. Yeah, well, Gaara's annoying today as usual. Neji growled. Gaara sighed and walked around the desk. He forced Neji to roll back in his chair and sat on the brunette's lap. He pulled the rubber band out of his hair, setting the glossy brown locks free. I see Gaara is also being rather bold today, Neji practically whispered, ghosting his hands over the redhead's clothed shoulders. Neji, I'm sorry to bother right now, but Uchiha Sasuke paused and stared wide-eyed at Gaara and Neji. Blank green and horrified pale blue eyes stared back at him. Sorry, Sasuke said weakly and closed the door. Itachi closed the last filing cabinet in Sasuke's office just as Kasama walked into the room. Good, you're here. I haven't found anything screwed up, unfortunately. So I guess we should head out to get an early lunch, and Kasama, your fly is undone. Itachi pointed out. Kasama looked at Itachi smugly. Sorry, but I prefer it that way. The Uchiha frowned at this and stood up from his crouching position. Well, it's repulsive and low class and not to mention rude. Zip it up. No. Itachi raised an eyebrow. Excuse me. I like it down. Kasama repeated in fewer words. The raven-haired man growled and rushed over to the blue-haired man. Zip it up now. Kasama smirked challengingly. Make me. Itachi reached over to Kasama's crotch and zipped up his pants. Now stop being immature, Kasama. At that moment Sasuke walked into the room. Obsidian eyes bulged at the sight of his older brother with his hand on his business partner's pant zipper. What the hell are you doing? His voice almost squeaked. Honestly, what was this office coming to? Sasuke and Naruto had just finished eating dinner and were clearing the table in silence when Sasuke decided to speak. Naruto, today I walked in on two very weird situations at the office. Naruto groaned as he turned on the water at the sink. For the last time, team, I have nothing to do with my friend's strange behavior. Sasuke sighed and hugged Naruto from behind, resting his chin on the blonde's shoulder. I didn't catch any of you guys being weird today, except for you in the elevator. I walked into Hyuga Neji's office and he had Gaara sitting on his lap. Naruto furrowed his eyebrows and stared at the wall ahead of him. You know, I just can't see them as a couple. And I also walked in on my brother and his business partner. This caused Naruto to chuckle. Wow. Sasuke sighed and released his lover, walking over to the table to bring the glasses to the sink. By the way, you're never topping again. Wow. Sasuke smirked. It can't be helped. You are a natural bottom and I am a natural top. You just can't do it right. Do what right? Naruto whined, turning off the sink and turning to look at the Uchiha. Sasuke just closed his eyes and shook his head, his smirk still firmly in place. He exited the kitchen and headed down the hallway to take a shower. Wait, Sasuke. What didn't I do right? Naruto called, rushing after the raven. Sasuke. Haruno Sakura raised her head, dread rushing over her features. She stared towards the closed wooden door of Uchiha Sasuke's office where she could clearly hear the conversation with his brother Itachi. She listened a little longer before getting up frantically and strolling over to Ino's desk down the hall. Ino, I just heard Uchiha-san talking with his brother and he's just been fired, she said in a loud whisper. Choji, who sat right in front of Ino's desk, paused his typing and looked at the two girls in the corner of his eye. Ino gasped and covered her mouth. Are you sure? Sakura nodded solemnly and stood up straight when she heard a door open. She looked in the direction of Sasuke's office and watched as Uchiha Itachi and Hoshigaki Kasama exited the dark room. They walked past the two women quietly, staring straight ahead of them. After the two men entered the elevator, Ino and Sakura looked at each other. Sakura, please don't leave your desk to chit-chat with Ino. Get back to work, Sasuke said coldly, standing in the doorway of this office. Why yes, Uchiha-sama, she squeaked and returned to her desk quickly. Sasuke exhaled loudly and looked down at the floor. You Uchiha-san, Sakura's light voice called, pulling him out of his thoughts. He looked at her with narrowed eyes. Sakura stiffened, but continued nonetheless. Are you okay, Uchiha-san? Sasuke nodded weakly and returned to his office, shutting the door slowly. Choji got up quietly and walked into Shikamaru's office, closing the door behind him. Dude, Uchiha-san got sacked. Shikamaru lifted his head from his folded arms. What? He asked tiredly, yawning. The chubby man trotted over to the desk and dropped his voice to a low whisper. I overheard Sakura talking to Ino saying that she heard Uchiha-san's big brother fire him. The lazy man's eyes widened a fraction. I wonder who's going to replace him, Choji mused aloud. I wonder how Naruto is going to take this. Sasuke was lying down on the couch while Naruto made him a drink in the kitchen. He was not looking forward to telling his lover the news about his suspension. Stupid Itachi, suspending me for a week from my job. If Naruto and his idiotic friends fool around next week, Itachi will fire all of them for sure. Here you go, sweetie. One Uzumaki Supreme, Naruto said sweetly, setting down a tall wine glass filled with what looked like an inedible liquid. The raven stared down at the green drink before looking up at an expectant blonde. What is this? Naruto grinned and sat down next to the Uchiha. It's Sunny Delight mixed with a teaspoon of sweetened vodka and 2 drops of blue food dye. That's why it looks green. Sasuke made a face, but picked up the drink nonetheless. Taking a sip, he stared down at the green liquid for a moment before looking up at Naruto. It's good. Could use a little more vodka. Nothing pleases you. Naruto pouted. Sasuke smirked and pulled Naruto into a heated kiss. That's not true. Naruto grinned and pulled the glass out of Sasuke's hands, taking a sip from it before setting it on the coffee table. The Uchiha watched Naruto lean in closer before putting his hands on the blonde's shoulders. Naruto, wait, we need to talk. Blue eyes widened. The blonde shot up from the couch and pointed an accusing finger at Sasuke. You're breaking up with me. I knew you were going to do this. You sweep me off my feet and then dump me in just a few months. Well, I'm not going to grovel at your feet, team. You arrogant, self-absorbed asshole. Sasuke watched as Naruto flailed his arms around animatedly as he shouted. Picking the wineglass off the table and taking a sip from it, he watched as the blonde went on and on. Finally, Naruto cooled down, a lone tear sliding down his face. Placing the glass back down on the table, Sasuke held out his arms in an inviting manner. Naruto practically jumped onto the raven's lap and grasped onto the front of his shirt. Please don't leave me. Sasuke smirked and placed a light kiss on the top of Naruto's massive blonde hair. SHHH, Naruto. I'm not breaking up with you. I love you too much. The Uchiha took a deep breath before speaking again. Itachi has put me on suspension for a week. Naruto sat back on Sasuke's lap and looked at him quizzically. Sighing, Sasuke explained the situation. Starting Monday, Itachi will be at my desk while I hang out here doing nothing. He's just seeing how the business is doing in his own way. I see, can he even do that? Naruto said, furrowing his eyebrows. Sasuke looked at the clock on the wall that read 9:23. He's my boss either way. And during that time, I want you and your friends to behave. Itachi won't think twice about firing you. The blonde's face fell at this. I'll be right back, he said quickly and ran into the bedroom. Taking the cordless phone with him, Naruto walked out onto the deck and dialed Shikamaru's number. Hello, a musical voice answered. Hey, Temari, is Shika there? Naruto said with normal familiarity. Oh, hey, Naruto. He's right here. Naruto heard a voices murmuring in the background and he guessed that Shikamaru was watching one of his weird sci-fi shows. Naruto never understood those things. Hello, a tired voice sounded. Shika, it's Naruto. I know. Hey, listen. Sasuke has been put on suspension for a week. Yeah, I heard something like that. Of course, you know everything. Anyways, can we put off the game for that week, please? Just until Sasuke is back behind his desk. I was actually considering that myself. I'll tell the others. Okay, later man. Right, thanks Shikamaru. Bye, Gaara said as he set the phone back down in its cradle and returned to the table where his dinner sat. He picked up his chopsticks and shoveled some rice into his mouth. After a long period of silence, Gaara set down his eating utensils and placed his head in his hands. Why are you here again? The other man sitting across the table stared at him blankly. Neji, what do you want me to say? We are going out. Is it no normal to have dinner with the one you love? The Hyuga said, practically mockingly. Gaara sighed and went back to eating. What did Nara have to say? Neji asked, pushing his half-finished food away from him. The shorter man looked at him warily. Nothing. Frowning, Neji stood up and picked up his plate and bowl. Don't throw that out, it's wasteful. Gaara called after him. Neji ignored him and dumped his plate's contents into the trash can in the kitchen. Gaara glared at him. The Hyuga just came to his house an hour after he got home and suddenly announced that they were having dinner together. Not only that, he was acting stranger than usual. Neji, what's wrong? Letting out a ragged sigh, Neji shook his head. It's just ... my uncle is being difficult again. The redhead didn't exactly understand what again meant, but he nodded his head anyway in understanding. Let's watch a movie. What movies do you have? Neji blurted out quickly, yet he sounded far from interested. Gaara hesitated before answering. Depends on what you want. Do you want something to put us in the mood or just something to take your mind of things? I have a lot of funny movies like The Ring, 28 Days Later, and my personal favorite Texas Chainsaw Massacre. The Hyuga raised an eyebrow and swallowed thickly. Let's just stick with cable. It was Monday, the first day of Sasuke's suspension, and he decided to become familiar with Naruto's apartment. After memorizing where everything was placed in the kitchen and den, he moved on to the bedroom. Opening the closet, Sasuke mused at how unnaturally big it was for an apartment closet. It was a walk-in that had a rack on each side. The right side held all of Naruto's unique clothes and the left side had ... what the fuck. The Raven stared with wide eyes at the row of women's clothes, noting that there were a few men's clothes too, but they looked like they were too big for his blonde lover. But still, what was with the dresses? Looking up, Sasuke saw tons of old-looking boxes that were stacked up on the shelf above. Taking a blue one that said baby in big white letters. Sifting through the many congratulations. It's a boy. Cards, he finally came to 3 photographs. The first one was of a woman with red hair holding a blonde baby boy that was asleep. The poor woman looked really tired. The second was the same woman holding her baby, but this time the child was awake and staring at the camera with wide, beautiful blue eyes. The last one was the same as the second, but this time a man that looked just like Naruto was leaning over the bed next to the women, grinning. Sasuke smiled softly. Naruto had told him on their first date that he hardly knew his parents and that he only knew what they looked like through photographs. I wonder if my parents have my baby pictures or if ... they just didn't care enough to take any. The sound of the door in the living room slamming shut brought Sasuke back to reality. He quickly placed the photos back in the box and put the box on top of the other 2. Sasuke, Naruto called out in a sing-song voice. He trotted into the bedroom and looked around. Sasuke, I'm in here, dope. Sasuke replied, his voice laced with amusement. Naruto furrowed his eyebrows and walked into his closet to see the Uchiha staring at the clothes across from his. What are you doing in here? Sasuke smirked. Just admiring your array of clothes. The blonde's whiskered cheeks turned a shade of pink. It's not what you think. They're my mom's. Why do you have them? The Raven asked, picking up a peach-colored dress that had frilly sleeves and holding it up to the blonde. Because they're my mom's. They're the only thing I have left of her. Naruto huffed. If he makes fun of me, that makes sense. Sasuke replied. He placed the dress back on the rack and looked over them some more before his dark eyes landed on an old sailor fuku. Most of the girls' school skirts were really short these days, but this one was long and was even in the old navy blue, red, and white style. Smirking as he picked it up, he looked at Naruto from the corner of his eye. Hey Naru-chan. No. Forget it, Sasuke. I know what you're thinking. Naruto yelled, backing up out of the closet. Sasuke followed him, school uniform still in hand. Oh, come on. It'll be fun. You said you liked roleplay. No way. You'll rip it or worse. And besides, can't you just imagine I'm in a school uniform? Naruto continued to back up, but he soon fell onto his bed. I need visual stimulation, Sasuke said flatly as he crawled onto the bed, settling on top of the blonde's stomach. What does it matter? I'll only be in it for 30 seconds and then you'll have it off me and on the floor. Besides, it probably won't even fit. Please, Naruto, Sasuke pleaded. Damn it, Dobe. Don't make me pout. Uchihas do not pout. Naruto shook his head furiously. The Uchiha sighed, but wasn't exactly ready to give up. Lowering his head, he placed his lips on Naruto's. He then moved to his cheek, then his temple, then to the other side. He set the uniform down next to the blonde and undid his tie, slitting it off and tossing it somewhere in the room. Moaning softly, Naruto tilted his head back as Sasuke's lips moved down, giving the raven more access to his neck. Sasuke unbuttoned his dress shirt, making Naruto arch off the bed to make it come off easier. Dope, he spoke between each kiss that he planted on the tan neck and collarbone as he unbuckled the blonde's belt, and then moved on to his pants. Just wear the stupid uniform he emphasized his command by moving to Naruto's right nipple and began sucking on it. The blonde moaned and let out a weak no. Sasuke, you're such a tyrant like your brother. He instantly regretted it once the words left his mouth. I didn't mean. But it was too late. Sasuke got off the blonde silently and looked down at him with one of the most ominous looks ever. How was your day, Naruto? He asked flatly. Naruto swallowed hard, sitting up on the bed. It was fine, he said cautiously, looking at the wall behind his lover. Define fine. Naruto looked thoughtful for a moment before grinning wildly. Fine, adjective, of superior or best quality, of high or highest grade. Example, fine wine. Dope. What was Itachi like at work today? The blonde smirked. Well, flashback. No Kiba, I will not have sex with you. Naruto shouted loudly, looking to make sure he caught people's attention. Sure enough, many heads were turned in their direction. Naruto, you fucking faggot. Kiba growled, a dark blush coloring his cheeks. Naruto had been sitting in his office only a minute ago when he suddenly felt very restless. He was getting work done, and he was getting it done too fast for his liking. So he decided to go back to his old ways of putting Kiba in a weird situation. It was how he showed how much he truly cared about the dog lover. Is there a problem here? A deep voice asked, causing Naruto to stiffen and turn around. Itachi stood there with his arms crossed over his chest. He looked from Naruto to Kiba expectantly. I believe I asked you a question. He tapped his foot in an impatient manner. Itachi and Sasuke are a lot alike. Maybe it's an Uchiha thing to be intolerant and angry, Naruto thought to himself. The older Uchiha glanced at Rock Lee, who was sitting there with a goofy expression on his face as if he was stifling with sheer will and nothing else. Naruto, how long have you worked here? He asked flatly. The blonde shrugged. I don't know, about 2.5 years I think. And have you ever been on the brink of losing your job with Sasuke? His eyes narrowed when he visibly stiffened. At that moment, a loud thump followed by a soft moan emitted from Hadate Kakashi's office. Itachi raised an elegant eyebrow and turned his head towards the closed door. Naruto's eyes widened. Oh crap. Itachi is going to find Kakashi and Iruka doing the nasty. I have to stop him. Somehow. Oh look, there's Kisame. Anyways, back to saving Kakashi and Iruka's asses. Oh, Kisame. Oh my god, what happened to you? The oddly blue-colored man stopped in mid-step and quirked an eyebrow. Itachi turned to look at him, hands still reached out for the door. Kisame frowned as Naruto started waving his hands around and pointing to the door and Itachi. He mouthed no what? Naruto slapped his forehead. Kisame, man, you look unusually blue today. Uchiha-san, don't you think Kisame looks bluer than usual? Itachi grunted. I hadn't noticed. Naruto pretended to be surprised. But look at him. He could be sick for all we know. I mean, how are we supposed to tell? It's not like he's normal. Watch it, punk. Kisame growled. Uchiha-san, you should take Kisame to the hospital, just in case. Right, Kisame? You're not feeling all that great, huh? The blue man raised an eyebrow, but sighed nonetheless. You're right. I think I'm coming down with something. I'm probably not well enough to drive. Itachi, could you drive me to the hospital? The older Uchiha frowned and looked back at the door. Fine. Then flashback. Sasuke's left eye twitched as Naruto finished explaining the only thing that he remembered clearly from the dull day he had at work. Itachi was in over his head.
So this was it for today. I will continue this movie in next part. Till then, we weeb offline.